Yeah. Yeah. I spent most of my life telling stories.
Good morning on this pretty December day. So we have a big morning in store for us at our quarterly meeting and our last regularly scheduled meeting of 2018. So welcome to all. It is also a little bit of a bittersweet day as we say some fond farewells to folks who have been so pivotal to the work of the Tennessee Board of Regents. Without any further ado, and because we're already just a few minutes behind, but we'll make up for lost time and still get all of our work done, I will call on Secretary Mason to call the roll, please.
Governor Haslam, Regent Apple,
Here.
Regent Burdine,
Here.
Regent Duckett,
Here.
Regent Green,
Here.
Regent Griscom,
Here.
Regent Hatch,
Here.
Regent Krause,
Here.
Commissioner McQueen, Regent Pepper,
Here.
Regent Prescott,
Here.
Vice Chair Reynolds, Regent Roman,
Here.
Regent Shockey,
Here.
Regent Summons,
Here.
Commissioner Templeton,
Here.
Regent Varlin,
Here.
Regent White.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. We have a full house. You have in your board books 2 sets of minutes from our September 28 quarterly meeting and our special called meeting from November 13. Any changes or comments on those? If not, we'd like a motion to approve those minutes, please. Regent Shockey, thank you. A second?
Second.
Regent Prescott, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Chancellor, your interim action report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The interim action report was included in the material sent to all board members prior to our meeting today. This report constitutes a record of business transacted by the Office of the Chancellor since the previous quarterly meeting of the board. Madam Chair, pending any questions, I recommend the board's approval of the report of interim action.
Any questions for the Chancellor? If not, a motion to approve the interim report? Thank you, Regent Apple. A second?
Second.
Second, Regent Burdine, thank you. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of approval of the interim action report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We have one report from our committee work, and that's Audit Committee, which met on November 13. Regent Griscom, a motion to approve those minutes? Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Regent Prescott. Any comments or discussion? If not, this will require a roll call vote. Sanja?
Regent Apple,
Aye.
Regent Burdine,
Aye.
Regent Duckett,
Aye.
Regent Green,
Aye.
Regent Griscom,
Aye.
Regent Hatch,
Aye.
Commissioner McQueen, Regent Prescott, Vice Chair Reynolds,
Aye.
Regent Roman,
Aye.
Regent Shockey, Regent Summons, Commissioner Templeton, Regent Varlin, Regent White.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Oh, Chancellor, I'm going to jump around a little on you. Sorry.
I'll come back.
Do come back. We are going to jump around just a little bit today on this agenda to accommodate schedules and a very busy agenda. And at this time, I'd like to recognize, as I mentioned, it is a bittersweet day in many ways, Commissioner McQueen and Commissioner Templeton, who have served with us during their tremendous service to the state of Tennessee. I know really neither one of them needs any introduction to this group, but Candace McQueen has been a devoted public servant to the state of Tennessee, and as we all know, the success in K through 12 has so much to do with our success at our TBR institutions. You're stepping down, I guess, in January with a new opportunity at the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching. Tell us what that's about.
Fantastic. I'll work on my elevator speech, which I'm working on now. But NIET is an organization that really started almost 2 decades ago to begin to support teacher evaluation, new teacher compensation models, but in particular teacher leadership opportunities, so we could create a foundation of effective educators in every school. And it's really created now a model that's around a whole school improvement that's built on teachers as the foundation of that improvement. And I am blessed to have an opportunity to move into the CEO role and bring the main office, the national office, to Nashville. So it was a very attractive opportunity. We will have an office still in Washington, D.C. We have an office in California and an office in Phoenix. But the main headquarters will now be in Nashville. So I'm adding jobs to the economy, which I thought was excellent. And we'll still be able to support a lot of the educator effectiveness work that we have done so well in Tennessee. And certainly it's been a blessing to work with you on the board. I'm always impressed with your leadership and the people around this table. So thank you for the opportunity. It's been an honor to serve and also an honor to get to know so many of you so well. And I appreciate you saying how important this connection is. We're going to make sure it keeps going strong through the coming years because we've reduced remediation rates. We have more kids ready for college and career than ever before. And so the momentum is strong, and let's just all keep working together to keep making it strong.
Absolutely. And the best part of this is you're staying right here. We're so
Absolutely.
grateful.
Thank
so
you.
grateful. Commissioner McQueen and her team have collaborated with us on Tennessee Pathways, early post-secondary opportunities, expanding our dual credit programs, advancing career and technical education in general, collaboration with us on putting more experienced professionals in the classroom. I mean, the list goes on and on. So this has been a special relationship. We thank you very much. Thank you. And to Commissioner Templeton, who's probably headed home to that farm in McNairy County where his heart is, I know. Jay has served in the role as Commissioner of Agriculture for a couple of years now, and you were Assistant Commissioner or Deputy Commissioner, were you not before that? So he's been also a very active supporter of TBR. He's been an advocate for us. You've gone to legislative events and graduations and all kinds of events, and you've been a faithful supporter of this team. In fact, I think later today we'll see a new program at the TCAT Crump in farming operations technology that you had a significant hand in formulating, so we thank you. But tell us about your next steps, Jay, and thank you.
Well, thank you. It's been a real pleasure to serve with you. You give me more credit. Stephen Milligan would probably contest that you said I had a lot of hand in developing that program, but Stephen really did, and I salute him for that. But I do intend on going back. Between my service with state government and local county mayor's office, it's been about 13 years since I have been a full-time farmer. So I am looking forward to doing that and beginning to continuing to work with some entities as we further develop agribusiness around the Delta and the Mid-South region. And I think that's going to be a tremendous opportunity. And on days when I'm not doing those sort of things, I'm going to cut the grass for my neighbor, James King, down there. Look forward to it, but I do want to say thank you, Chancellor. I want to especially call out Nathan Garrett, who has been such a wonderful help to us at the Department of Agriculture as we have worked on some specific programs around things related to forestry and agriculture that have been a tremendous boost for individual businesses as well as the industry and the department. And I think a lot of Nathan, and I really appreciate Stephen and the staff at TCAT Crump for their vision in creating something that's truly needed in Tennessee, and that is how we can better help put together a program and have a good bench, if you will, for farm employees going forward. And I think it's going to be a great win for Tennessee agriculture. Thank you, Chairman, for your service as well.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to work with you in many capacities over the past very many years.
I
So
know.
thank you.
We haven't aged a bit. It's been almost a quarter of a century. I know. That's just shocking. So, well, we will miss seeing you, but we know you're not far away either. And I suggest that you send James a big old bill for cutting that lawn. Before we let you go, and I know you have some scheduling issues as well, but we can't send you off without a little something to thank you for your service. Chancellor, you want to join me up here?
name on it. With your name on your desk. I know.
Here, let's get in front of the poinsettias. Still working on getting in the holiday spirit.
I thought it was a FAFSA sweater, but. I'm waiting for that.
Though my name was not invoked, the mention of the FAFSA sweater, I do believe, gives me a chance to rebut the commissioner's comments. As you all know, we have led the nation in FAFSA the last several years. We believe at THEC the FAFSA sweater, which made its appearance, I wore it yesterday, has played a key role. Let me say, in all seriousness, if you're in the job I'm in, the Commissioner of Education matters. And there has been nothing we have done around FAFSA, around sales, where we just text and we just figure it out, and we're really, really going to miss Commissioner McQueen. And then I would just say, as the other state employee at the table with Commissioner Templeton, when you're an ex officio member on a board, that's a hard role sometimes. And finding the right perspective that aligns with what you do in your day job versus your board service is hard. I've never seen a commissioner of ag do it better than Jay. And I served with him on the UT board before I was fired from that this year. And so
I survived that one.
you did, but Jay made it out. It must have been his neighbor.
I was fired from that one too. So.
I've learned sitting between both of them as the ex officio members of the board, and I will miss them both.
We are blessed in this state with talented people. Mike, thank you for those comments. And again, thanks to both of you for your service. You have been extraordinary public servants, and we're just proud to know you. With that, Regent Varlin, we will call on you for our latest Regents Award, please.
They even held the microphone. It is my pleasure to announce the Tennessee Board of Regents Award for Excellence in Philanthropy is a unique designation. It is only given to the most committed and devoted philanthropists for their support of our institutions throughout the Tennessee Board of Regents system. Today, we are proud to recognize the Gene Haas Foundation with the 2018 Regents Award for Excellence in Philanthropy. Last December, the Gene Haas Foundation was nominated by two college presidents, Dr. Anthony Wise, president of Pellissippi State Community College, and also by Roland Rayner of TCAP Memphis. The generosity of the Gene Haas Foundation and their support of the machine tool program across the state have benefited students and communities alike. Their donations of equipment, scholarships, and a campus expansion are creating the next generation of advanced manufacturing skilled workers. Support for students entering computer numerical control machinist training is what sets Tennessee on the fast track of student success and workforce development. Thank you to the Gene Haas Foundation. Pellissippi State Community College and TCAP Memphis are extremely grateful for the generosity and continued support of the Gene Haas Foundation. The award presentation to the Gene Haas Foundation was made on March 26th at Pellissippi State Community College, and I was honored to be there that day. On behalf of the Tennessee Board of Regents, we are proud to recognize the Gene Haas Foundation for the outstanding contributions they have made to our colleges, the communities our colleges serve, and most importantly, the students who are benefiting from their generous support. I would like to ask President Anthony Wise, is he here? I didn't see him earlier. And Roland Rayner to step toward the podium for any additional comments. I saw Roland, I hadn't seen Anthony. Yeah.
I'm hoping this is on. It is. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Actually, I'm shocked that I'm up speaking this morning about this, but be also prepared, right? But anyway, good morning, everyone. I am truly pleased to have this opportunity to say thank you to the Gene Haas folks for actually awarding us $1 million to assist with a building project in Bartlett, Tennessee. And it goes a long way to help us to continue to do the work that we're hoping to do at TCAT Memphis, continue to do that great work in the Bartlett area, an area that does not have a TCAT, and those folks have to travel quite a bit to get to our campus downtown and out to aviation campus. But again, the Gene Haas Foundation has been a major player in helping us to transition to the Bartlett area. We truly appreciate them and thank them for their contribution to TCAT Memphis and the Tennessee Board of Regents system. Thank them so much.
Thank you, President Rayner, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Regent Barlin. Well done. And President Rayner is always prepared. So thank you for those impromptu and excellent comments. And our continued thanks to the Gene Haas Foundation for their tremendous support of TBR. We are now ready for the Chancellor's report.
I was so excited.
She's been wanting to move for 7 minutes now. Here she comes.
I am going to go to the front to do this because I have a lot that I'd like to talk about today. We're doing sort of a year in review, and of course I know that all of this is not really what the Chancellor has done, but what the team at TBR has done. It's not encompassing everything that we've done, but I think it's going to give you a good highlight of what has been accomplished during 2018. To start with enrollment, it is up for the third consecutive year. We had more than 88,000 students at the community colleges and over 16,000 at our TCATs. So again, a huge increase in enrollment. And at the same time, while we talk about more students coming in the front door, you know that the continual conversation is how do we help give them the awards and what they've chosen to study when they come to our colleges. Well, our award rates are also up. The community colleges awarded 15,240 associate degrees and certificates this past year, and the TCATs awarded 7,700 credentials in 2017. That is an 82% increase over the last 10 years. That's a tremendous increase. While we've had an increase in enrollment, we've also had an increase in the number of students that are completing their goal and actually graduating from our colleges. The Drive to 55, you heard the governor challenge us to increase our numbers, and that's because every year we have been exceeding our goals since 2013. So this year, when the governor met with both our community college and our TCAT presidents, they agreed to increase that roll by 25% so that we will exceed this goal even sooner than in the year 2025. Right now, if we stay on trajectory, we are 2 years ahead of schedule. By increasing that goal by 25%, we anticipate that we will reach that goal in the next 2 years. We are again going through a tuition increase, but it is the second lowest tuition increase in 27 years. I think that bears saying to each of you again. You voted on that increase, but I think it's important for you to realize that we have kept that to the second lowest increase for the past 27 years. 2.7 at our community colleges and 3% at our TCATs. Tennessee Reconnect successfully launched this year, and if you remember, THEC estimated in our early look at this that we thought we'd have about 7,000 applications for Tennessee Reconnect. But you've all read in the paper, you know what our numbers are. We ended up with over 35,000 applications and 14,000 students enrolled in our community and technical colleges. That pushed our adult enrollment up 17%, and this is the first increase we've had in adult enrollment since the Great Recession. So again, a tremendous thanks to our governor, to our legislators, and to THEC for making this happen. It's made a difference in our colleges and in the lives of our students. Tennessee Promise, again, we know this story. We know what a difference this is making every year. Our graduation rates for that first cohort, or our success rate, is 52.2% for that very first cohort group. The fourth cohort of students are now completing their first college semester. We'll be able to start giving you results from that second group beginning in this next year. And Columbia University, the study that they put out finding that the TBR system is the furthest along of any community college system in implementing guided pathways to bolster student success, was a huge event for us. This is something to be celebrated. Out of all 50 states in the nation, Tennessee is leading the pack in guided pathways, in retention, and in graduation numbers. Our sales program, in combination with our K-12 partners, is a huge part of this. This year, you know that they won the National Award for State Innovation from the Education Commission of the states. The sales staff was moved in and consolidated into our system office over this last year, so they now are overseen directly out of the system office. And for the first 5 years of sales, we have a record number of 51,278 high school students that did not have to take developmental studies when they graduated from high school. Now, if you put that into dollars and cents, what does that mean for families in our communities? Well, if you estimate that each one of those students would have spent roughly $1,200 on books and fees when they went to take those developmental study courses, that is $41.2 million that was saved for our Tennessee families and our financial aid system. $41.2 million. That's significant. And as of this year, all 13 community colleges are engaged in the national network focused on increasing student success and eliminating equity gaps, or achieving the dream. We had our second TBR Advising Academy in March, focused on our adult learners, with 90 students participating under these initiatives. We also had our first High Impact Practices for Student Success Conference held in January with more than 80 participants, and the second conference is scheduled for this January. Our High Impact Practices are listed here. Again, all of you are familiar with what these are and the work that's been doing out of the sister office and the difference that they're making at the campus level. Achieving the Dream and our pathway projects, again, with all of our colleges now engaged in this work, and they're looking forward to their first Dream conference that they'll be attending in February. And TBR and THEC co-hosted the We All Rise conference in October, our 7th biennial conference on diversity, equity, and completion, with more than 250 individuals in attendance, where Governor Haslam served as the keynote speaker for this convening. Skills USA this year, we had 41 students compete from 11 of our colleges that won medals at nationals. Again, 41 of our students competed and won at the national level. And we have expanded the TCATS Common Curricula Building, Shared Content, and Competencies in 88 programs this year. We're continuing to develop our system-wide articulation and alignment agreements between the TCATS and the community colleges. We have expanded our veterans and military prior learning assessments, and we have launched our new faculty learning communities this year. With regard to workforce development, we received a $1 million state appropriation for our middle college mechatronics programs. This allowed for us to give 4 colleges $250,000 grants. Those were Chattanooga, Cleveland, Motlow, and Rome State, to expand what they were doing with the middle college mechatronics programs. Motlow State was awarded a $545,000 National Science Foundation grant for a 3-year project which will be introducing smart manufacturing concepts and technology to the advanced manufacturing educators across the nation. So educators from across the United States will be coming to Motlow to be trained on these National Science Foundation concepts. We are also currently working on a new non-credit online workforce training program to be delivered through our Tennessee eCampus. This is in collaboration with our own internal ECD department. The initial offerings will be grouped into the advanced manufacturing, quality assurance, project management, engineering management, and nursing and allied health components. So we're really excited about launching this and looking forward to serving that non-credit community within the state of Tennessee. And we truly are now a Memphis to Mountain City system. When our TCAT Elizabethton broke ground on their new Johnson County facility in Mountain City, it completed that map trajectory. This is in partnership with the Johnson County schools. Also, TCAT Livingston opened the Jackson County's first ever higher education facility in Gainesboro with state grant and in partnership with Jackson County schools. Both new facilities will provide opportunities for dual enrollment, high school students, and our adult learners. We've also been undergoing a great deal of major construction on our campuses to the tune of $135 million coming out of the ground this year. Those projects include TCAT Knoxville Anderson County campus, the Pellissippi State Science and Math Building, the Cleveland State Campus Revitalization, the Montlow Smyrna campus, TCAT Memphis Bartlett Extension, and the Walter State Sevier County campus. Our shared services initiative is becoming less painful. You do see that these ladies have smiles on their faces, in this picture at least. You know that it has been a long, hard road for us as we've gone down this. The initiative is well underway. The service center established has gotten their staff up and running, and many of the business function operations are now being done at the central office level. TCAT Finance, HR, Payroll, Accounts Payable, Purchasing, and Contracts are centralized in the new service center. The TCAT Online Student Application System has now been fully implemented, where TCAT students and prospective students are now able to apply and follow their application process in Banner. This is the first time they've ever been able to do this at the TCAT level. And soon they'll be able to check their student accounts and financial aid online and send and receive campus emails. These are functions that our community colleges have been doing for many years. The TCATs have never had this capacity, so we are truly excited about this being online. And if you doubted for any minute that we were not making a difference in the economy of the state of Tennessee, I think $1.06 billion says a lot. This is the amount that was determined by the new economic impact study by the Center for Economic Research, concluded that this is the difference we make in the state of Tennessee on an annual basis. The number of jobs that we created as a direct impact of this system were 9,950 over this past year. Again, that's a significant impact on the state of Tennessee and our economic engine. We are also working and looking hard at our succession planning for our agency, for our system, for our colleges. TBR partnered this year with the Tennessee Department of Human Services with their Lead Tennessee training program to help develop our bench strength of future leaders and interagency leadership exposure. 7 TBR system and campus staff were selected to be a part of Lead Tennessee this year. They've just started in the program. We're extremely proud of this fact. And also our 14th group of Maxine Smith Fellows began their process in October. You see before you the 10 future leaders from the Maxine Smith Fellows program. We've also been undergoing our completion visits to all campuses. This is replacing what many of you may have known as institutional briefings of old. Well, now this is strictly focused on our completion activities when these briefings are taking place. Out of those briefings, we're getting a lot of great feedback about what is happening on each one of the campuses, and they're doing their new completion plans and turning those in for the next year. So strategic planning is taking place with regard to retention and completion. You also know that over this past year, you have voted and selected 5 new presidents for our system. Dr. Michael Torrance, Dr. Shauna Jackson, Dr. John Mandrell, our newest, Ms. Kelly Cheney at TCAT Knoxville, and Dr. Bethany Floor at Northeast State College. It's a rare year when we have to replace 5 presidents in 1 year. So thanks to each of you that served on those committees and the hard work that you did. To those of you that chaired those committees, I won't say that we've got more gray hair in the room, but we have worked hard to make sure that we have 5 of the very best across the nation to be a part of our system. We have also started a new pilot program with Digital Engagement Initiative for textbooks. This is designed to offer digital course materials to all students on day one of class at a significantly reduced cost. As a pilot this fall, 95 faculty members and hundreds of staff members at 31 community and technical college campuses are preparing to put the digital materials in the hands of 6,200 students in the spring of 2019. Preliminary projections show that students taking the pilot courses will save a total of $500 and $2,000 by using these digital materials. So significant program that we're putting in place, very exciting. The response that we've had from the campus level faculty and staff has been tremendous. We're very pleased with where the pilot's headed, and we look forward to this being the norm rather than the exception on our campuses in the near future. With this project, students will always retain the option of acquiring a traditional textbook at any retail store of their choice. They have to opt out of the choice. The Office of Policy and Strategy has developed an assessment model for the pilot to assist with continuous improvement in any decisions that need to be made to scale this up. We also are very happy to tell you that the maps, we gave you a taste of this at our committee meetings, but to let you know that these interactive maps on our education and workforce development will go live the end of the year. TBR commissioned TSW planners to conduct a statewide analysis of the need for higher education and the connection to the labor market. TSW created a series of these interactive maps displaying the educational need and the demand by census tract. These maps will allow us to identify areas of the state with the greatest need at a more granular level than the state or the county data currently allow for. Maps are also incorporated with the labor market projections in the 5 high-demand areas, including healthcare, manufacturing, information technology, transportation, and business. The information will be useful in the development of new academic programs, capital project prioritization, and in identifying whether academic programs match our regional labor market need. And then finally, I do just want to announce 3 retirements that we have. First of all, TCAT Whiteville President Carolyn Beverly and TCAT President Tony Creasy have both recently announced their plans to retire as of January 1st. They are here with us, and we're going to talk about them more further on in the program. And also to let you know that our interim president, James King, has given me his letter saying that he plans to retire at the end of January, which I hesitantly accepted. And we will talk about him at a future date. I told him we were not prepared to do anything to talk about that today. He has to come back and visit with us to talk about it. Are there any questions about this past year?
Chancellor, may I make one comment? Because we've had opportunities to go around to legislative meetings, over the past several weeks, and there was one at TCAT Athens this week, and Cleveland State Community College was also involved. And so Stewart put together some of the things that have happened there and talked about. But State Senator Mike Bell made the comment. He said, "This is great. We need to know about these things. Send us all the things that are going on so that we may not show up, but at least if we know about it, we have an opportunity then to really have an understanding of what's happening at all of our institutions." So we had this conversation earlier this year about the largest system in the state of Tennessee is our system. And I just wanted to share this because Mike Bell, Senator Bell on his own, recognized and shared at this luncheon meeting, we need to know what you're doing because then we can carry that forward. So I just wanted to bring that back up because you put this event together and I had an opportunity to be part of it that really talked about how to leverage all what's in this room and what's on all of our campuses. So I just wanted to share that back to your report. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to mention this too in conjunction with what Regent Griscom just said?
Yes, each of you have at your place this is our latest publication talking about the past year. Our career pathways, our guided pathways are all included in this. Most everything that I just talked about in this presentation is in that book, and we do intend to put that in the hands of every legislator as we go and visit with them. So that will be our PR and talking piece throughout this year.
So what are your priorities for next year?
To survive. No. We're going to continue to look at our retention and completion numbers. We're also looking at setting a goal, a benchmark for our dual enrollment numbers as we go into this next year. We realized that we didn't actually have a benchmark for that. So we're working on calculating those numbers out. We are looking at doing more in workforce development as we go through this next year, adding to our Tennessee eCampus in what we're able to do to serve the communities there with Tennessee eCampus. So we've got a full agenda for this next year.
I know. Thank you. Any other comments or questions for the Chancellor? Well done, as
Thank you.
always. Thank you, team. So, well done. We do not have any unfinished business to come before the board at this time, so we will move into new business and our consent agenda, which is in our books as well. We have about 9 items on that consent agenda. I will not read them all to you. Most of them we discussed at our committee meetings in November. We could table any item if there is a particular concern. And if not, we'll be looking for a motion to approve that consent agenda. Thank you, Regent Griscom. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Regent White. A second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving today's consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We have some informational reporting to continue in the vein of the Chancellor's good news and hard work, and we'll begin with Vice Chancellor Prieur to give us an update on economic and community development. And Carol, just keep going on the warranty rollout as well.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to share with you some information about the Economic and Community Development Office. We have 2 agenda items today. Both of these are, as we mentioned, informational items only, an update of the ECD activities and the warranty rollout. November 1st, the 2nd Tennessee trained cohort graduated. We have graduated over 130 Tennesseans who are representatives of TBR, ECD, labor, community leaders that have been trained in the consult, design, implement, and evaluate systems approach to recruiting and expanding businesses in Tennessee. We've had a great year. Nathan Garrett is also working on the 2019 class, working with our graduates as well as ECD partners to make sure that the 2019 program is just as robust and just as exciting as we trained folks across the state. We're excited about that. We also, from our evaluations, found out that the members of the Tennessee Train class wanted to have an alumni association and a meeting from time to time to keep the momentum going and to keep the excitement going, because this was the first time many of these folks got together in the same room. So we're planning that as well for 2019. Some other updates that we have include developing a task force to work with apprenticeships, particularly in the area of IT, as well as machine tool and tool and die. We're coordinating these efforts with our campuses and ECD and labor. And I'm going to follow up with what the Chancellor said just a little bit about the online workforce initiative. It's sort of a teaser. We are working with Dr. Greg Cedric with his talented eCampus staff above us, 1 floor, I believe, to develop a high-quality online, on-demand workforce training coursework that will be able to be something that industries across the state can use on a quick notice whenever they have employees that they need to train. It will help to enhance what our campuses are doing currently now and just provide one more service to business and industry in the state regarding workforce training. So hold tight, and more to come on that in 2019 as we begin some pilots early next year. Our projects that we're working on that have been big for 2018 will continue in 2019. The Oshkosh, the Van Holes, the Tysons, and then certainly with the announcement of Amazon as well. So those will keep us busy on through the next few years. I would like to recognize TCAP Morristown and Knoxville. They are providing training for Oshkosh employees, particularly in the area of welding currently. Morristown has completed 2 courses with the employees, and I'm happy to say that they have 100% pass rate on the final project that they're having to do for Oshkosh. And saying that is just so simple and so easy, but what those employees have had to do is really hard work, and have those wells are x-rayed and really are checked checking those students out. And I'm happy to say that Jerry Young and Chris Edmondson and Cody at Morristown have had a 100% pass rate. So they've raised the bar for TCAT Knoxville, and we're excited to see what's going on there. TCAT Knoxville's training is happening at the Anderson County campus. They will have a 216-hour class starting in January, and they are in their second week of their 96-hour program that they're having. And honestly, I could talk for days about all the workforce and successful projects that are going across the state in the workforce areas. I could talk about TCAT Memphis, I could talk about Southwest, Columbia State, Volunteer State, TCAT Murfreesboro, TCAT Chattanooga, and all the others and what they're doing. But I can tell you, because I don't want to keep you here till Easter, I will tell you that good things are happening across the state, and you should be very proud of the workforce divisions that are working hard to make sure that Tennesseans are prepared for the jobs ahead. So thanks to all of those folks. The next update has to do with our warranty program. As you know, a year ago, this board passed the TBR warranty policy, and it went into effect this September of 2018. And as we review and take a look at that, we want to just review just quickly, it is our commitment to the quality of education. It's a guarantee of the competencies as identified in the curriculum. It applies just to technical programs, and the person who gets to redeem that is an employer who has hired one of our graduates. The warranty is good for 1 year, and it did start this fall. So what it's not, it is not guaranteed employment. It is not guaranteed employment for the graduates. It's not total re-education of a course or a program, and it does not guarantee successful licensure as well. But it does guarantee that if we say our students have been trained in a certain area and an employer finds that we did not do that, or that student does not have that skill, we will retrain that student at no cost to the employer or to the student. This is a huge initiative, as you can imagine, with 40 campuses. So we have worked closely with campuses in developing and streamlining the process to make sure that this fall and henceforth goes smoothly. We have worked very hard with Volunteer State, Northeast, Chattanooga, Motlow, and all the TCATs to make sure that the frequently asked questions we have, the information that we have sent to the campuses makes sense to their admissions. We have met with admissions, registrars, academic officers. Some days I felt like I was meeting with every single person, but we've got a good group going out there, and I feel comfortable. The campuses are ready, and they're excited as well. Dr. Faulkner is so happy and excited that he just said that his graduation this fall, all of his technical students will receive the warranty instead of just waiting for those that just started. With the help of Matthew Gann and his creative staff, we have some wonderful marketing items that we have some in front of you, and I'll draw attention to those in just a second, but it's an exciting time. The warranty is actually just 3 separate steps, and we're going to go through those rather quickly for you just to make sure you're up to date on that. The first is, of course, issuing the credentials, which is what many of our campuses are involved with probably right this second. We will have students that are eligible for the warranty this term, those students that were enrolled in short-term certificate programs or in the phlebotomy program or truck driving programs. Those will be some of our first students across the state that will receive the 1-year warranty. Through marketing, we have created, in our foundation office, we have created a warranty form letter that talks about what the warranty is, how to redeem it, what it means. And there's also a little paragraph in there about becoming an alumni and how they can give back to their institution. We just thought that might be a good plug to put in there. So we do appreciate the work that marketing has worked on for us. The beautiful posters here. You have a warranty card in front of you. With your microphone, as well as a postcard as well. So if you need that materials, just let me know. I can send some more to you. The second stage is when that graduate leaves and takes that first job. If for some reason the employer finds there is an issue, there will be on our website a warranty claim form for the employer to complete. Once they complete that form along with the graduate, that form will come to our office, and Jennifer Fuchs will oversee that, work with the campus to make sure that we are able to retrain that student in the skill that they need. And we will work with the presidents on their campus and their designees to make sure that takes place. Jennifer will oversee that and keep up with that particular process. Once the student has been retrained or the alum's been retrained, that information will be closed out in what we're calling the warranty record-keeping mechanism, and we will report that to the board, obviously, and we will report that to legislators or the public or whoever wants to know. We will be sharing that information. Once a warranty claim comes in, the chancellor will be notified along with the institution immediately. And I would just like to remind everyone that that's not a catch you or trying to find something wrong in our system. It's truly just to make sure that the quality is there and that we're doing exactly what we need to do in preparing the workforce for tomorrow. So in conclusion, I would just like to say that with our dual enrollment programs in the high school and our new middle colleges, Tennessee Promise, Tennessee Reconnect, and our warranty, business and industries are really excited about what's taking place in Tennessee and how we're preparing the workforce. And the Tennessee Board of Regents is playing a critical role in making sure that we have people ready for the jobs of tomorrow. So, Vice Chancellor, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to ask them. Otherwise, that completes my report.
Any questions or comments? Chairman Apple, thanks for the work you're doing as our chairman of the ECD committee. So, well done.
Okay.
And the whole point is not to have to maintain many warranty records, right?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
yeah.
I have not asked for another employee. I'm hoping that Jennifer goes to sleep waiting for that phone to ring.
Exactly,
But we've got her
exactly.
some other duties, so she really won't fall asleep. But
Yeah.
no, ma'am, we're not anticipating any. I fully believe in what the campuses are doing.
Exactly. Believe in the quality of what we do. So
Mhm. Yes,
excellent.
ma'am, every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. Vice Chancellor Gibbs for a finance report overview, please, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and members. For those of you that were at the committee chairs meeting last month, you heard me talk about the challenges the state experienced this year in getting all of the information that was needed to us in order for our campuses to prepare their financial statements for this year. That in turn put us a couple months behind schedule. So having said that, I think it's truly a Christmas miracle I stand before you today with any reports. I guess it's true that where there's a will, there's a way, and all the credit goes to our campuses and to Renee Stewart and her staff. Renee and her group really came through in the clutch for me this time. At one point in time, she asked me if I could have financial statements or budgets, which one did I want? So I picked one, knowing that I really wanted both, and knowing at the end she would come through with both, and she did, so I certainly appreciate that. Today I'll be sharing with you two pieces of financial information, the first being a system-wide annual financial report, and the second being a report on the financial performance of the community colleges and the TCAT sectors. Neither report will require any formal action on your behalf. Included in the mail-out materials, you should have received a copy of the fiscal year 2017-18 annual financial report for the Tennessee Board of Regents system. The report includes consolidated financial information for the 6 locally governed institutions, 13 community colleges, 27 TCATs, and the system office. Additionally, the report also presents financial information for the reporting entities' foundations. Again, the annual financial report is an informational item only and requires no action. Next, I would like to share some consolidated financial information by sector. TBR policy regarding institutional financial performance review requires that on an annual basis, the board shall be advised on the aggregate overall financial performance of the system's institutions. To aid in the assessment, we use various financial ratios that are widely accepted in colleges and universities, as well as other select financial information related to overall unrestricted net asset position. This is the 6th year for reporting under the board policy. This year, we've also added a new report, a report of adjusted unrestricted net assets. And also, as required by the policy, I will be reporting ratio information in aggregate for each sector, including a sector average performance, an expected performance level, and a watch level performance. In the first chart, one more please, is the summary of select financial information. And this is, and here we're reporting the adjusted unrestricted net assets by sector and the change of those assets over time. Note that I used the word adjusted. What that means is, for the purpose of this particular evaluation, we have taken the unadjusted unrestricted net assets, that's basically your fund balance, or if you think of it in terms of like retained earnings, as reported on the financial statements, and reversed certain accounting transactions that the schools are required to book for financial statement reporting purposes, but are not truly the financial responsibility of the college and are outside the institution's control. Examples include certain entries related to pension accruals and other post-employment benefits that the institutions are required to book. As you will see from the chart, fiscal year 17-18 was a pretty good year for both the community colleges and the TCAT sector. Adjusted unrestricted net assets for the community colleges increased by $37 million, while the TCATs increased by a little over $6 million. The percentage increase for both the community colleges and the TCATs was at 12.7%. Additionally, the report tells us that the community colleges have about 7 months of unrestricted net assets available and on hand when compared to revenues. The TCATs have about 6 months available. So if you assume that expenditures will somewhat mirror revenues, then I think these numbers are pretty good. About 5 months of reserves is the industry standard. In my opinion, these measures, which use the adjusted unrestricted net assets as a measurement tool, are some of the best gauges of financial performance. It gives a clear picture of how much the bottom line is moving and in which direction. It also gives you some idea of the sufficiency of the net asset level overall. Another reason I think these are some of the best measures, again, is this method negates the impact of several of those recent accounting principle changes that I just discussed. And some of those can really skew the financial performance results if you don't account for those. Now we want to take a look at various financial ratios that are used in the CFI or Composite Financial Index calculations. As we look at the ratios, please keep in mind that the ratio calculations use the unadjusted net assets in their calculations. So it's a little bit different base that they're calculated off of. Again, they're using the unadjusted as opposed to the adjusted. I'll briefly describe these ratios as we go through the information. I do want you to keep in mind that while these ratios are indicators of financial health, but they're certainly not absolutes, especially given the fact that they use the unadjusted balances. The first one that we'll look at is the primary reserve ratio. The primary reserve ratio measures financial strength by comparing total expendable unadjusted net assets to total expenses and provides information on how long an institution can survive on their current savings or reserves. The industry standard for this ratio is 0.40, which represents about, again, 5 months of expenses. The watch level is 0.13, which represents less than a month and a half of expenses. As you'll see, the community college sector meets the expected level of performance, which means that the reserves for the sector as a whole are in pretty good shape. The TCAT sector is above the watch level, but showed a slight decline over the previous year. We think the decline is primarily the result of the new accruals required by the accounting principle changes. The next ratio is the return on total net asset ratio. The return on total net assets provides information on whether the institution is better off at the end of the period compared to the beginning of the period. This is one ratio where the capitalization of investments in plant or buildings can create year-to-year volatility in the ratio and really skew the results, especially for the smaller schools. The industry standard is 3% above inflation, as measured by the Consumer Price Index. The watch level is consistently below the rate of inflation. As a whole, the community college sector is above the expected level, which generally means our institutions are better off than they were compared to the previous year and performing at an overall good level. The TCATs are performing above the expected level, as well. But here you can really see the impact of bringing new buildings online. If you look back at 2016 and see the big spike, that's where we capitalized some new buildings that year. So those are the top things I think that you have to take into consideration as you're looking at these ratios and some of those oddities that can impact them. Our next ratio is the net operating revenue ratio. The net operating revenue ratio indicates an operating surplus or deficit and is similar to a profit margin and provides information on whether an institution is living within available resources. The industry standard is 4%, which represents an amount needed to keep pace with growth in expenses and maintain adequate reserves. The watch level is consistently below zero. A deficit in a single year, though, doesn't necessarily indicate a problem, but deficits over several years may be a cause for concern. The ratio tends to be pretty volatile and, again, can be negatively impacted by things that are outside the institution's control, such as, again, those required pension entries, other post-employment benefit entries, depreciation expense, large capital maintenance expenditures that are funded from capital appropriations. As you see there in the community college sector, they performed at the expected level. The TCAT sector is slightly below the watch level. Again, there are several factors that are beyond the institution's control that can have a material impact on those ratios. And we think that's the driving force behind the TCAT ratios being slightly below the watch level. But if you recall, the adjusted unrestricted net assets that I presented earlier for the TCATs increased over $6 million this year. If that number had not gone up significantly, then I would have been maybe more concerned about this particular ratio. Our next ratio is the viability ratio. This ratio measures financial health by comparing expendable net assets to long-term debt. And it provides information on how much debt can be paid with existing resources. And this is one that we'll just skip through pretty quickly because our institutions basically carry no debt. This is more really for the LGIs. Walter State, I think, has some debt for a capital project, but their ratio was near the industry standard here. The composite financial index is our final ratio. This last measure that we'll take a look at, basically you use the other four ratios to calculate the CFI, and this provides a single measure of the overall financial health of our institutions. Tracking the CFI over time provides information on the progress an institution is making toward achieving financial goals. But again, we have to remember there are things outside the institution's control that can significantly influence and skew these ratios. The industry standard for the CFI is at least 3.0. At this level, an institution is considered relatively financially healthy. The watch level is a CFI of 1.0 or less. For the community college sector, the performance is right on the expected level, which would indicate the sector as a whole, again, is doing fairly well. For the TCATs, the performance is above the watch level, but again, I think this is another case where you can see the material impact of some of those activities and transactions, such as the capitalization of buildings. Again, you can still see the spike in 2016 even impacts this ratio. Therefore, we think that these entries, again, are probably the reason for the slight decline in 2018 for the TCATs. The last slide just provides you with a few general observations about our schools. So in conclusion, I presented you with information consolidated at the sector level for the community colleges and TCATs. At your table, you will find a handout that provides the same information for the individual schools within each of our 40 schools. Again, you have that information. Recall that I discussed some of this information at the committee chairs meeting, and for time's sake, I'll not be able to cover the detailed information for all 40 schools with you today. But if you have questions as you look over the information, please do not hesitate to contact me. A couple of the things that I want to point out, I think that's on this last slide, on the observation slide. It's related to the adjusted unrestricted assets. And again, I think this provides a financial performance indicator that negates the impact of the recent accounting principle changes. I think that's very important. And it focuses more on the performances that are within the institutional control. And it shows trends over time. But I think more importantly, 12 of our 13 community colleges increased their adjusted unrestricted net assets this year, and 23 out of our 27 TCATs increased their performance on this measure as well. The last things that we had looked at, the CFI ratios, again, those are more influenced by things that are outside the institution's control. And I think the way we will use these ratios will be used really to supplement the adjusted unrestricted net asset information we provided. If we see the school is having issues with the unrestricted net assets, then we'll look to the CFI ratios and see if we can identify exactly what's causing those issues. We'll continue to monitor our school's progress. In particular, there were 1 or 2 community colleges that we'll continue to monitor pretty closely with their progress. And there are about 10 TCATs where we want to see continued improvement in their adjusted unrestricted net asset numbers. Again, most of those TCATs moved their numbers in a positive direction this year, but we want to just continue to monitor them and make sure that they can get their levels up to where we feel good about it. So unless there are any questions, Madam Chair, this completes our report.
Questions? It's a lot of information. And everybody do take these and look over. This is an important set of information that we are given from time to time. In conclusion, though, Vice Chancellor Gibbs, what I think I hear you saying is, while there are certain instances where you're doing some more careful monitoring, there's not necessarily anything that's keeping you up at night at this point.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
We've made good headway at Northeast. I think that has definitely been turned around and heading in the right direction. We've worked closely with our TCATs this year, so I'm seeing some good progress there. Again, we'll always monitor our schools, but I think we're moving in the right direction there. When we get back from Christmas, we'll be having, again, individual conversations with our TCATs like we did last year. So, again, I just think we'll continue to monitor, but things seem to be moving in the right direction.
Good. Good work. Thank you. And thank you to, and thank you to Renee Stewart, who is always a mainstay in this process. She's amazing. So I understand our chairman and governor is arriving. He is in the lobby. Excellent, excellent. Why don't we stand by here for a second? Oh, that's right, that's right. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We will stand by. He's greeting our newest faculty regent and our student regent, which is certainly appropriate. And then we have 2 pieces of business we will transact with him and ask him for some comments as well. And he's running early. That'll work. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. We'll let you get situated, and with your permission, Chairman and Governor Haslam,
You seem to have done fairly well without
No.
me.
We have 2 items of business we'd like to transact, and then we'll turn it to you for some remarks, if that's okay.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. You can snack on your candy in the meantime.
That's right.
Tommy took good care of you.
Well.
I know. Chancellor, I'd like to call on you for a special opportunity we have this morning.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, and Chairman, we are so glad to have you here with us today, Governor Haslam. We do have something very special that we would like to transact today, and that is the naming of a new building. It is my pleasure to bring before this board the naming request that President John Mandrell and Nissan North America and the TCAT Murfreesboro Naming Committee submitted to me, naming the training center the Bill Haslam Center in honor of Governor Bill Haslam. In In 2013, when Governor Haslam gave his State of the State address, he announced plans for the Smyrna campus and the training center's creation. The center's concept came about because Nissan North America needed to expand, requiring an additional 3,000 jobs in Middle Tennessee over a 4-year period. And TCAT Murfreesboro had an extensive waiting list of program candidates ready to be trained. Governor Haslam knew what to do, and more importantly, he knew how to do it. He, under his leadership and his strategic guidance, the partnership with Nissan grew stronger. Commitments were made from local businesses and industry to expand and to train this workforce. Our business leaders, our state and local officials joined forces to help make this campus a reality, and the legislature appropriated a $35 million request to build the training center. The Smyrna campus became a high-demand program for the 10-county service area. These programs produce qualified skill production workers such as our CNC programmers, our electrical and mechanical technicians, machinists, and our other craftspeople, plus our business and support personnel. The Smyrna campus opened in 2016, and in 16-17 academic year, it showed a 31% enrollment increase. The Smyrna campus hosts evening courses, dual enrollment programs, and serves as a regional industry training center for companies throughout Tennessee. Because of Governor Haslam's vision for this project, the Smyrna campus is what it is today, a shining example of a successful private-public partnership. For our governor, who brought this project to fruition, turned the first spade of dirt, and officially opened this campus with a ribbon cutting, I am honored to recommend that the Smyrna Campus Training Center be named the Bill Haslam Center. Vice Chair Reynolds.
Thank you very much. I believe this requires an action by the board. This recommendation to name the Smyrna campus in honor of our governor. And with that, I would love to hear a motion to approve the chancellor's recommendation. So move. A second? Second. The amen chorus here. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. John Mandrell, one of the new and shining stars in our system, Governor, who joined us this past year. John will now make some additional comments about the campus, and we have our friend from Nissan, Dan Caldwell, with us as well. Welcome.
Thank you, and good morning. On behalf of TCAT and Nissan, it is with great honor and pride that we bring this proposal today. Oftentimes at our campus, when we give tours, which are several times a day, I'll say, the conversation begins with the idea of this project, and then Governor Haslam igniting that idea and putting a chain of events in motion to see this vision come to life. Governor Haslam's steadfast commitment to advancing career and technical education in the Murfreesboro and Smyrna communities was instrumental in the creation of the Smyrna campus and the Nissan Training Center. His responsiveness and collaboration has advanced not only our community locally, but statewide. The center has become an epicenter of collaboration, I'll say. All things education, all things advancing our mission as public servants in education. Most recently, we've brought approximately 2,000 to 3,000 K-12 students through the center. Every hour, it feels like another school bus pulls up, and we have this sort of positive panic, like, who's got that school bus? Whose event is this? And we're so thrilled by that. Most recently, we held an event called Experience TCAT, which was essentially an open house community event, and it was packed. Tomorrow, we're hosting an event called The Amazing Shake for elementary school students. If you're not familiar with that, look it up. It's really neat. So a lot going on there, and this naming is also appropriate due to Governor Haslam's vision and work towards the Drive to 55 and the many other initiatives throughout the state that we're all driving towards daily. Additionally, the committee and the campus community, which consisted of TCAT, TBR, and Nissan employees, were unanimous in this recommendation. So I have to say, Carol mentioned earlier about speaking till Easter about the history of the center, and Dan as well. They both give phenomenal tours, and the persistence and the stories that went into this project are just incredible. And Governor Haslam, you've demonstrated a great commitment to career and technical education, which we fully support your name as being appropriately placed on the building. And thank you for being a long advocate of education and workforce development. Thank you again for making a dream a vision and this vision a reality. Thank you very much again to the very Honorable Governor Bill Haslam. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to my partner at our facility, Dan Caldwell, Senior Manager of Nissan.
All right, thank you, John. Governor, I've heard you say in response to a question, if you were to be entering into a third term, what would you do to impact post-secondary education? I've heard you say that you would really lean into K-12. And John has mentioned some of the events, and I just want to highlight one of the events that we recently had in October. It was a Junior Achievement STEM Summit. And one of the activities, of many activities that the kids did, was to actually operate the industrial robots, the real robots that we use to build cars and SUVs. And that was a real kind of joint effort event. I had one of my trainers, 4 of John's students, operating the robots and helping the students. And I just want to share with you some feedback from a 7th grader. She sent us a thank you note. Her name's Stella Phelps from Stewart's Creek Middle School, 7th grader. And she says, robotics was her favorite activity because, and I quote, someone there told me I was good at it and it made my day. So it's just so rewarding to have this facility that we can use to not only expose these K-12 students to potential careers, but actually to build their confidence. And Governor, we're so thankful for your investment and your commitment. And John and I consider it a real responsibility and an honor to be good stewards of that facility. And that is our goal going forward. And we're certainly proud and thankful to name it in your honor.
Thank you, Dan. Well said. There is a long-standing tradition in our state of naming our facilities here through the Board of Regents after outstanding governors and legislative leaders. So it is our honor today to continue that tradition. And thank you for giving this just chance to honor you in some small way for the leadership you provided at the TCAT at Murfreesboro and Smyrna. It's pretty exciting, so thank you. Do you want to say something now? We have one more thing.
You go ahead.
Okay. No, but I don't want to stop
No,
you.
you go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. So, and thank you, John and Dan, for being here, and Chancellor for bringing this recommendation to us. So we're just proud to know you. And I'm proud your name will be forever on it. That's very exciting. Now, this is where it gets a little dangerous. I'm now going to turn the floor over to Regent Griscom, who will read the resolution that the board will act on once again to honor you today. Regent Griscom.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I want to take the two of us back to when we were in the United States Senate together and ask if I may have a point of personal privilege before I read the resolution.
Yes, sir.
There are several of us governors sitting up here today who've had the opportunity to be on this mission with you for both terms. And I think you'll probably hear from the rest of them when I finish this, but I just wanted to acknowledge it's been an interesting ride, probably more than we thought when you asked us to do this, and I hope we have served you well as members of this board. And the second thing is, personally, you brought me back out of what I thought was an end of a public career. You gave me a chance to help you early on and then to continue in that public service by being a member of this board. For that, personally, I want to thank you. Now, I will get to the serious part. This is a resolution of appreciation for the service of the Honorable Bill Haslam, Governor of Tennessee, to the Tennessee Board of Regents. Whereas the Honorable Bill Haslam was elected the 49th Governor of Tennessee in 2010, after a successful career in business and 7 years of public service as mayor of Knoxville, and was reelected to a second gubernatorial term in 2014. In 2008, as mayor of Knoxville, he helped establish Knoxville Achieves, a groundbreaking program that allows graduating high school students in Knox County to attend community and technical college free of tuition. And whereas Governor Haslam established the themes of his tenure in office in his first inaugural address, I remember that cold morning, I know you do too, in 2011, in which he declared that, quote, educational achievement is the real key to the future, close quote. And that, quote, open quote, our goal is simple, top-tier education for our children, close quote. He proceeded to fully fund the basic education program for K-12 education throughout his tenure, significantly raised teacher compensation, and instituted other reforms that resulted in national leading gains in various measures of K-12 student achievement. And whereas, after 2 years of major gains in elementary and secondary education, along with fully implementing the Complete College Tennessee Act of 2010, Governor Haslam turned his attention to higher education in his 2013 State of the State address, in which he reported that only 32% of Tennesseans at the time held some form of college credential. In that address, he established the Drive to 55 initiative to increase that percentage to 55% by 2025, and proposed a dramatic $35 million increase in student assistance through the Tennessee Student Assistance Corporation and $17 million for new equipment and technology to boost workforce development programs at the community and technical colleges. And whereas in his 2014 State of the State address, Governor Haslam proposed the first major vehicle with the Drive to 55, the landmark Tennessee Promise Program, making Tennessee the first state in the nation to guarantee tuition-free community and technical college for all high school graduates. When it went into effect in 2015, Tennessee Promise became a national model for tuition-free community college. And more importantly, it changed the conversation around Tennessee family dinner tables from, I wish I could go to college, to where will I go to college? Increasing college enrollment among new high school graduates, and particularly among first-generation college students, and leading to an unprecedented drop in the number of Tennessee students taking out college loans. And whereas Governor Haslam proposed in his 2017 State of the State address, expanding tuition-free community college to adults without college credentials through the Tennessee Reconnect program, after observing that increasing college attendance by recent high school graduates alone would be insufficient to reach the Drive to 55 goal, and declaring that, quote, we need to reach the working mother who went to college but didn't complete, or the son with sons of his own who, like his dad, never went to college but knows that he needs to upgrade his skills, close quote. When Reconnect went into effect this fall, Tennessee achieved another national first, becoming the first state to offer adult learners tuition-free community and technical college to earn college degrees, diplomas, or certificates. And in his 2017 address, Governor Haslam said, I know firsthand what a college degree can mean to someone, specifically someone who is the first in the family to go to college. My dad was the first in his family to attend college and get his degree, and the trajectory of his life and mine was changed forever. And whereas Governor Haslam also personally witnessed these life-changing impacts of college access and completion by speaking at commencement ceremonies, visiting campuses, and talking with students, listening to their dreams and their successes. And whereas in addition to his unprecedented improvements in student financial aid and landmark college access program, Governor Haslam's leadership has provided major capital improvements to public college and university campuses across the state, including new and renovated classroom buildings and new equipment and technology to boost student learning. He also proposed the Focus Act of 2016, which created new boards of trustees focused exclusively on each of the universities they govern, and sharpened the focus of the Tennessee Board of Regents to the success of students and workforce development at the community colleges and colleges of applied technology. And whereas believing that one of the most important responsibilities of the board is to hire devoted and compassionate leaders for the TBR system and its institutions, Governor Haslam personally served as chair of the Search Advisory Committee for a new chancellor to lead the Tennessee Board of Regents into its new mission. And whereas Governor Haslam has served with great diligence and distinction as chair of the Tennessee Board of Regents, and we greatly missed as both governor and the chair of our board. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents expresses sincere appreciation, gratitude, admiration, and thanks to Governor Bill Haslam for his tremendous leadership, outstanding contributions, and dedicated service to Tennesseans, who will benefit for generations to come as a result of his groundbreaking accomplishments in higher education. Madam Vice Chair, I move the adoption of the resolution.
Thank you, Regent Griscom, and I'm looking for a unanimous second. Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Regent Duckett?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Let me first say, personally and professionally, I thank the governor for the opportunity to serve on this board. When the governor was elected, I was serving as vice chair of this board. I was initially appointed to this board by Governor Phil Bredesen. Phil Bredesen was a Democrat. I presumed that the governor, being a Republican, would want to name a Republican vice chair. I will share with you a private discussion that I had with the governor about the role of the vice chair. I was meeting with him, trying to get him to tell me who he wanted to advance as vice chair. But he quickly told me that he wanted me to continue serving as vice chair. And for me, that told me a lot about the man. He wanted to work with people who were willing to work to make a difference regardless of party affiliation or who had appointed you. And for that, Governor, you will forever have my profound respect, and I sincerely appreciate all the work that you have done and the commitment that you have made for education in the state of Tennessee.
Beautifully said. Regent Varlin?
Yes. Governor Haslam, Knoxville is happy and grateful to welcome you and Chrissy home. And you and the First Lady are a blessing to every person in this room and to every person across our state. And when I think about the hundreds of comments that I could make about you, three things really stand out in my mind. And they are, number one, in no particular order, how kind you are. And that kindness shines through in your eyes and in your smile long before you even open your mouth. The second thing is your humble demeanor that is regularly expressed through your respect for others and your always available sense of humor. The third thing is your steadfast faith in God. There is no question that you lead with a force for good, and the Lord is your compass. And I just want to say my deepest appreciation for your service and for having faith in me to be a part of this incredible group of people in this board for education, and to say Godspeed and welcome home.
Regent Prescott?
Thank you. Governor Haslam, I first of all just want to congratulate you for just a wonderful 8 years and all the good work you've done. And kind of being an elder statesman, not the most elder on this group, but maybe close, and involved in education policy for perilously close to 30 years in both elected and appointed positions. I can say without a doubt that I think you are the governor that has done the most for post-secondary education, while at the same time being so cognizant and so supportive of the reality that education is a cradle to career proposition. And there are three things I'll mention that I remember. One is when I got the call from you to invite me to serve on this board, and we have a place at Horseshoe Lake, and in the middle of this call, it just dropped in the middle of it. I think I had said yes, I would accept, but then it just dropped, and I thought, oh my, what a way to make an impression there. But two other things that kind of support what I said about the cradle to career. In about the time you were elected, Memphis and Shelby County were going through a very tense proposition of joining the two school systems, which since then have developed into multiple school systems. And I really think the whole process produced a lot of good things. But I will remember that you took a invitation to call me, and what we were really wanting, because that community had really offered some incredible leaders to serve on that commission. And I had the privilege of really chairing a group that didn't need a chairman because they were all tremendous leaders. But we were wanting to at least get through the process before there was additional legislation, and that was kind of a battle. And that was my request to you, is that if we could just get through that process, and you, although, you know, very appropriately gave us the support in that area. And then the other thing was several years ago, and we really didn't have total support for additional pre-K education because we were going through looking at evaluating that. The folks in Memphis, and at that time I was serving as chair in a nonprofit policy board. We figured out the right person to talk to, but what we wanted was to just have the opportunity to apply for a federal grant. And we partnered with Nashville, which I thought was an incredibly wonderful thing. And I don't know if you just thought we wouldn't win it or if you were what, but you gave us the comfort to work together and to do that. And we did get that grant that produced $60 million over a period of time. So those are two ways while you are, in my estimation, really elevating the spectrum of post-secondary education, and particularly the community colleges and the technical colleges. You also never lost sight of the importance of this cradle to career, and I'm very grateful to you and just wish you the very best and hope we see you again in another capacity.
Regent Burdine?
Thank you. Governor, watching you and working with you these last 8 years reminds me of a conversation I had with my father, and I hope you'll appreciate this because I know how much you love and respect and appreciate your father. And I asked my dad, I said, Dad, why did you give so much of yourself? Why did you dedicate so many resources? Why did you give so much time helping others? And he said something I'll never forget. He said, I'm selfish. I said, that makes no sense. Yeah. And his response was, I got more than I gave. I got more than I gave. Never forgot that. So I've watched you, and I know that you've gotten more than you've given. I'll close by saying that Regent Griscom left one thing out in all of his whereases. There was a bunch of them. You, sir, are a good man. Thank you.
Regent Apple?
So my first contact with you was by voicemail, where I pick up my messages and it says, well, hi, Mary Lou, this is Bill Haslam. I'm going like, right, Bill Haslam's calling me and leaving me a voicemail. It was you, and it was like, you were so kind of, you go, when it's convenient, could you call me back? Like this, more I'm thinking, this is not really the governor, but it was, and you gave me the opportunity to serve with this wonderful group of people. One of the things I want to mention is when I think about you, I think of several of the same things you did. But my mom always said, actions speak louder than words. And to you, to me, you've always been a man of integrity and faith, but your actions really spoke about the man you really are. It's been a pleasure to work and know you.
I was wondering when you were going to call me back.
Regent White?
I'd just like to say I've known this guy since we were about 8 or 9 years old. And,
I had no idea.
It's pretty cool to be here personally. But yeah, you know, none of us would be sitting around this table if we didn't have the educational opportunity that we did. And none of us would want to sit around this table if we didn't want to see others have that opportunity. So it's, you know, it's important to all of us, and that's why we're here. And to have the support that you have provided just makes it all that much more enriching. So God bless you.
Oh, not yet. Got to take a final action here. Oh, me. If there is no further discussion, we do need to take a voice vote on this. All in favor of the resolution honoring this great governor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Governor, this is indeed your board. There's a lot of love and affection here. And with that, I will let you speak.
Well, thank you all. And it is. I looked around and I appreciate every one of you has said yes when we reached out and asked you. And I realize that that there's a lot that comes with it. But you also have to take your share of first of all, it's a lot of time. You take your share of arrows at times when folks don't agree with what you do, and you might be thinking it'd be easier just to have stayed running my own business or whatever, but I am incredibly grateful. I was thinking as you were talking, it's sort of ironic that a guy that went to a private liberal arts college as a history major fell in love with what TBR does. But I really have, and it's a lot of it, it's really for 2 or 3 reasons. One, it is so critical to what we do as a state that I'm trying to, I'm at that part where you're leaving and everybody's saying, well, what have you learned and all that. And what you've learned is all this is connected. I kind of ran for governor saying I'm going to focus on education and jobs and running the state in the right way fiscally. And then you kind of figure out all those things are incredibly tied together. And we've had pretty good job growth success in Tennessee for a lot of reasons. But one of them is the assistance that these institutions have provided and the promise that these institutions have provided. I can't tell you what a game changer it is. I always say, I wish all the presidents could come with me when I'm out recruiting around the world, and you would see like, hey, what we're doing really, really matters. You get to see the product, the student, but I kind of get to see the need writ large, and it's critical to what we do. So the first reason that I fall in love with this is because it's so important to the overall mission. The second is because all of the lives that you see changed, and you all see those as much and way more than I do, but I have the advantage because I'm a public face of people grabbing me in the airport or somewhere at a football game or something and go, hey, I want to tell you my story of how they went to one of our schools and the difference it made. And the third reason that I fell in love with it is just because how well you do, quite frankly. I mean, the success rate out of our schools, the job placement rates, it's incredibly encouraging. And I love telling people the stories of what we do and how well we do it. So for all those reasons, this has become one of my favorite parts of what I do as governor. And I really, really appreciate the role you play. I said every one of you is, I guess with the exception of the student and faculty regents, have said yes when I've called saying, would you help? And that's been really, really encouraging. So thank you all. I want to thank all the presidents that have served so well and keep doing that. The world has changed a lot, and never once did I hear you say, we can't do that. From we're going to start introducing a lot more students to we're going to ask you to increase your completion goals, item after item. I never heard you say we can't do that, and that has been encouraging and impressive to me. And then finally, just to thank this group. Again, I really appreciate that. I find myself saying this a lot, but I think we all, as part of being humans, is we want to do something that matters, that has some sort of impact. And I hope you have some sense of what the impact of this is, because it's really, really big. And like I said, I get the advantage of seeing that because of the position I sit in, but I hope you have some sense of the bigger picture of what's going on here beyond the things that just come across the agenda and what you're achieving. So thank you. Don't let up. The hill is still there, and we need to keep chopping away at it. And I know, like I said, we have a renewed focus on completion, but we have to. I mean, we've done a nice job of moving in access, but we have to keep pushing on completion to make certain that we find out why students aren't finishing, and we do everything we can to solve those problems and help it to happen. And I'll just end with this. If you look at the bigger issues facing our country, one of those has to be the whole income inequality issue, and then how that plays out in so many ways. I mean, we have an incredible partisan divide where our country is split down the middle, and then we're mad at the other side because they don't see the world the way we do. And part of that is just a growing income differentiation and everything else. I honestly think the best and only hope to address that is public education. And practical public education like you all are about is at the heart of that. So again, I hope you have a sense of the bigger mission that you're a part of in terms of trying to solve what I think is one of the fundamental issues in our country. And if we're going to change, it's going to be through the things that Barbara, you and a lot of others have been working on long before I ever showed up around here. So thank you all. Keep going. And let me say the last thing. I specifically appreciate the honor of this building. Every time I'm there, I love what happens there. I walk in that building and go, this is really cool. So I hope I get some sort of pass key where I can still get in there when I'm not the governor. Because I don't know who thought of this idea, but it is perfect. Every now and then you hope you give something to Christmas, give something for Christmas to someone that's a perfect gift, and you all did it. I can't think of something that would, that I take more joy in this. So thank you very much.
Thank you. If you show up at Smyrna, I have a feeling John might have a positive panic attack.
Oh, I got a key.
Oh, you got a key. That's excellent. That's excellent. We didn't think to get you a key, but we will. Just in case you missed any of those whereas clauses, here's a copy of this for you to take, just in case, from the board. And we have for wherever you next make your home at your desk, our paperweight.
Oh, that's awesome.
For
Thank
your
you.
service, yes. So it's a pretty thing. And we gave Commissioner Templeton and Commissioner McQueen one earlier today as well. So
Commissioner Templeton's moving to the farm, so this will be on a tractor somewhere. Thank you all very much. It has been an incredible honor to get to work with you all, and I mean that. So thank you very, very much.
it is our honor, friend. Thank you.
I'm
Well
gonna
done.
take my name.
Oh, here. That's it. Got it? Okay. We'll get you. Oh, you're going to work this?
Yeah, I will.
Here, let me take some of this so you can do that. Aw.
Thanks very much. We have been friends for a long time.
I didn't know that either. I think that's pretty cool.
Thanks, everybody. Everybody have a seat and go back.
Everybody's had a seat.
We got to get back to work.
That's right. Yeah, thank you. I really look forward to coming. Thank you. You're always welcome. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That was cool.
Thanks, everybody. That was pretty special. And he has either appointed or reappointed every one of us on this board. And I think not only is he still working, right? I mean, as I know, because I was at both meetings where we set new goals for both our TCATs and our community colleges. I mean, he is still pushing us to take that hill, but his appreciation for what this system does for the state and the notion that it is all connected is pretty humbling to play a small role in the continued growth and development and healthy economy that's in Tennessee. We will miss him, but he won't be far. So, and Danny will know how to find him at home and not. That's right. That's right. So, well done, everyone. Thank you for your comments and for all your help with this. All right. In the Haslam spirit, let's get back to work. Where did we? Let me turn some pages here. Dr. Lynn Goodman is up next with our annual report from the TCATs.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. And I've got to follow that. I mean, really, I think we could just go home right now, don't you?
If anybody can do it, you can.
Thank you. Well, as you all know, on an annual basis, the Tennessee Colleges of Applied Technology surveys students and employers to take a look and assess the effectiveness and the relevance of our technical programs. The document that you have in front of you, just as informational purpose, will sort of support the details that the Chancellor gave you earlier this morning about the placement information on the students during the 16-17 year. We surveyed, like I said, both students and employers, and I'm happy to report that we had a 96% rate, a satisfactory rate of the different fields that we surveyed for the students as well as for the employers. Now, 96% is great, but that actually means 4% of our students and our employers were not exactly thrilled with some of the things we're doing. So this might be an opportunity for us to follow up with those employers and say, what was it that we didn't do well? I'm not sure we've ever done that before. But this might be an opportunity for us to take a look at what we might not be doing so well. Otherwise, Carol, you may have some warranty calls. I'm not sure. It all ties together. It seems to be coming together greatly. But there were approximately 7,400 graduates during the 16-17 year. Of that number, 6,444 took jobs in their field, which is an 88% rate, which is just phenomenal in my opinion. I bring to you this document this morning, the supporting detail with the alumni survey, with the employer survey, and then with the total number of results for the placements inside this document. I'm happy to answer any questions. I was hoping for this year we would be far enough along in Banner that this would be an activity that is done through our Banner system. Right now, it is still a manual activity of absolutely emailing or snail mailing our employers and our students and saying, how are we doing? And we should be able to automate that in Banner this next year. So I hope we have more numbers and a better document for you next year. Any questions?
Yeah, I do have just one thought or question, particularly with this warranty going forward. Think about, and this is for you guys to decide, but maybe we add a question with employers around awareness about the warranty, or if they've had occasion to use the warranty. Just, it will kind of help build awareness and give us some additional feedback. I don't know exactly what the question would be sitting here this morning, but I think we may want to think about incorporating it in some way.
That's a great idea. The entire survey will be rewritten next year as we put it into Banner, so I'll make a note and make sure that we include that, Vice Chair.
Anybody
Any other
else
questions?
Have anything for Lynn?
Okay, thank you so much.
We appreciate you, and with Tony's upcoming retirement, Dr. Goodman's going to do some double duty for us as well and take over as the interim president Pulaski after the first of the year. So we are very grateful for her service and commitment. Thank you. Vice Chancellor McCormick, let's talk about, as we move into a new year and a governor-elect and a new legislative session and many new state legislators, talk to us about our priorities and also our advancement report, please.
I would be glad to. Thank you, Chair Reynolds, Chancellor, members of the board. At this time, I would like to address 3 initiatives within the Office of External Affairs, and our team has been very hard at work, as you all know. In the first item I would like to bring to your attention is our final list of 2019 legislative priorities. This list has been presented, as you know, before as a preliminary list. However, we're ready now to finally and formally announce that the TBR 2019 legislative priorities are to support any legislation designed to secure formula, capital outlay, and equipment funding requests, ensure the statewide safety and campus security of the system's 110,000 plus students, support efforts to expand college access to all Tennessee high school graduates, to ensure that the system institutions are afforded the flexibility to be nimble in response to continually evolving educational demands that are required for student success, and continue to thrive and grow as the workforce development arm of Tennessee's economic and community development efforts. As we did last session, we internally hold bill review every Thursday. Mary Moody, as our general counsel, is invaluable in those meetings, and our government relations staff and people from other departments here at the central office, all involved, and we're able to track specific.
You want to change gears here?
Yes. So at this point, I'd like to move on to the 2018 Advancement Report. Our colleges and our system-wide foundation, under the leadership of Assistant Vice Chancellor Chris Perkins, have been very successful this year. In your packets, you will find the TBR College System of Tennessee FY 2018 Advancement Report. There are some highlights, and they are wonderful highlights. In FY18, Community and Technical College Foundations raised $13,853,589, which is nearly $900,000 more than the last year's total of close to $13 million. Walter State raised the largest amount at $3,735,390, up more than $3 million from the previous year. The Foundation for the College System of Tennessee raised $98,510 this year, which is $35,000 more than what they raised in fiscal year 17. The total amount of dollars in the Foundation for the College System of Tennessee is $908,840, which is up from FY17's total of $874,670. The value of foundation endowments in the system total more than $85.6 million, and this is up from last year by just under $9 million. Our TCAT saw a total of $12,231,361 acquired from governmental and non-governmental grants and contracts. Assistant Vice Chancellor Chris Perkins is actually here with me today to address any questions that you may have and to give you a few more specific highlights.
Thank you, Dr. McCormick, and thank you, everyone. I wanted to just point out a couple of things moving forward in an advancement report you will see next year, and wanted to make a couple of acknowledgments here today. First, congratulations to President Roland Rayner and TCAT Memphis and their awesome work with FedEx Express to bring in the Purple Runway Scholarship Grant for $100,000 to go towards aviation maintenance technology. And in development, when you come into the office on a Monday or Tuesday and there's checks sitting there, and FedEx said there was a Mr. Perkins, here's a check for $20,000, and the old president I worked for would be like, hey, go home for the day, great job. But that was President Rayner and the awesome work he did for that. And so we received that last week, and that's the first of 5 installments that we'll get every year around this time. And also, thanks to Carol Tomlinson for making me aware of an email when I was in Memphis visiting TCAT Memphis and FedEx about Brian and Janie Collins, who were wanting to help TCAT New Bern and Ripley. So President Jones worked really hard with that family and our office, and they established the Brian Collins Make a Difference Scholarship to go to the TCAT New Bern and Ripley campuses in the amount of $16,000, $8,000 for each school, and I believe in January you'll be awarding the first recipients of that scholarship. The last time I spoke to you, and I'll wrap up here, we had the opportunity, we held our Advancement Officers Peer Group meeting, which I told you that we were going to be doing. That was on November 13th and 14th, and on November 14th, we also had an hour-and-a-half seminar with the presidents of our system, our TCAT presidents and our community college presidents, which was an awesome experience. And then the last I saw you, I told you about a partnership that we were working on with Country Music Television and CMT. And I just wanted to kind of let you know that we have met with our presidents. CMT has talked to our presidents. They've talked to our vice presidents of foundation and advancement, and also our marketing folks across the system. And we can now tell you that we have a partnership with them in their Empowering Education Initiative. Our community colleges were asked to partner with our TCATs and apply to be one of 4 colleges selected for a visit from CMT and one of their next Women of Country artists, Courtney Cole. Each of the selected schools submitted a formal application. They had to do it, I believe, by December 7th. And CMT is now reviewing the applications and will pick 4 colleges and TCATs in the Partnership Alliance. CMT Empowering Education is a comprehensive educational campaign that provides both an online resource and on-the-ground support to aid prospective students in overcoming the most commonly perceived obstacles to furthering education. The 4 selected colleges will be announced in early January, and the tour will take place the first 2 weeks of April, and we'll keep you updated on this awesome partnership. And I'm going to bring Dr. McCormick back up to talk to you about SOAR, but we've been meeting with SOAR and sponsors and potential sponsors, and we've received a chancellor sponsorship from AT&T and then another sponsorship from a private individual. So we're moving along with that and look forward to seeing you all in March. Now, with that, if there's not any questions, I'd like to bring Dr. McCormick back up. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. So the 2019 SOAR Awards planning is advancing with sponsorship agreements, as Chris said, save the dates, and all other necessities to prepare for an extraordinary event. Dr. Heidi Lemming and her team are also moving along with the local and regional competitions to determine our finalists for student, faculty, staff, and College of the Year. In January, our colleges will receive registration packets, and we will keep you, the board, apprised of all events and information as it unfolds. Also, as Chancellor Tidings discussed earlier in her remarks, you all have a copy of the Tennessee 2019 Pathways to Success booklet. I want to commend Assistant Vice Chancellor Matthew Gann and his team for their hard work on this publication, and I truly mean very hard work. People all over this board office contributed, but they worked many, many nights, and I wish Matthew could be here right now for me to thank him in person in front of you. He had to leave to go to the vet and say goodbye to his little buddy, so he's not able to be here. But this is a masterful guide of who we are at the system office, including the priorities and expectations of Chancellor Tidings and of you as a governing board. It also defines and highlights the priorities of each of our institutions, and I could not be more proud of this work. We have already begun distribution to our legislators and to business and industry leaders, and it will serve as a very useful guide to those inquiring about our system and our colleges. So, Vice Chair Reynolds, if there are no questions, we have concluded our report.
And as always, well done. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Our final item under our informational reporting comes from Sanja Mason, our board secretary, and that's our board assessment report, which of course you all have had in advance to review. Sanja, your comments, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. SAC COC now requires governing boards to conduct a board assessment. Our board adopted into its bylaws a process for board assessments at our June 22nd quarterly meeting. After that meeting, a survey was developed and distributed to all the members and was completed October 19th, 2018. And all members participated in the survey, even Governor Haslam. From the responses, a report was drafted and it is included in your materials for today's meeting. The report includes responses to questions on orientation, onboarding, general questions about the board, board meetings, committee structure, strengths of a board, areas for improvement, and an area for general comment. The assessment report provides information from board members with the following themes emerging: communication with the board, education of emerging leaders, improved construction of committee agendas, continued board development on education, board education on risk assessments and vulnerabilities, building relationships with the new administration with Governor Lee, and be a resource for his team. Members also stated that they appreciate the opportunity to serve and be a part of higher education in Tennessee. As we move forward, the Chancellor will continue to apprise the board on actions taken and processes implemented as a result of the board survey. The next survey will be in 2020. I want to express my thanks to everyone for making this a priority. From the responses, I believe that you all feel that it is important for us to step back and review our performance from time to time so that we continue to be a premium governing board for our system, our institutions, and our students. Madam Chair, unless there are any questions, this is the board assessment report for 2018, and a copy of the full report will be included as an attachment to the minutes of this meeting.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? And I just want to take a second to thank everyone who returned their survey. So we had 100% participation, including from the governor, which says a lot. So we're off to a good start with this process. Thank you, Sanja. So we are in a bit of a time crunch here. And while we need to pay attention to these 9 action items before us and then some important resolutions at the end, I am going to ask the staff to assume as you come forward to present these action items to us, that this board has done their homework and has carefully reviewed everything that was in our board books. So if you could just hit the highlights. I don't want to squash any conversation or questions because that is equally important. But I do want to get us somewhat back on track if humanly possible. Is that okay by you, Chancellor? Okay. So with that, Vice Chancellor Gibbs, you will return. I know we need to take an action on our revised budget for FY 18-19.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. And we will try to move through this as quickly as possible. If you recall, again, you've authorized the budget for us in June. This process that we're going through now is to revise that budget based on new information that we have that wasn't available to us at that point in time. Again, our campuses have worked on these budgets and submitted them to us for our review and approval. State appropriations during this process from last October to this October increased about $18 million, and that's presented before you today. I will hit just a few highlights. The largest of that really came from the funding formula process. We received about 2.5% increase for salary pools, which is about $8 million, and the outcomes funding formula about $9 million. That was by far the largest on this new state appropriations. Just one quick thing on, we received legislative amendments of $3.75 million, and if you all recall, that was support Megatronics program, $1 million, the relational advising program $1 million, and mobile labs another $1 million as well. Quickly, the total budgeted revenues, we're comparing October to October. And again, you'll see the largest was the state appropriations, which we just reviewed. And maintenance and tuition increased about 4% revenue growth there. And recall, we approved a 2.6% community college fee increase and a 3% TCAT increase. And there was about 1% enrollment growth, so that accounts for the increase in the maintenance fee revenue. The next slide, the unrestricted education in general expenditures by function. I'll just draw your attention quickly to the far right-hand column at the bottom. You see that the expenditures increased about a modest 2% growth, and this was mostly caused by the 2.5% cost of living adjustments that our employees received. And if you'll notice too, the academic support and student services increased the largest, 6% and 5%. I just think that shows our institution's commitment to providing the services necessary to continue successfully on our completion agenda. The next slide will show you our expenditures by natural classification, again, just broken down a little differently. And again, you see the salary and benefits as a result of the cost of living adjustments. And again, overall growth only at 2%. The next slide summarizes the unrestricted and restricted funds, expenditures, and transfers. Again, total growth of about 2%, $17 million in unrestricted. I will note that there's $18 million in restricted growth, and a lot of that is from the promise and the lottery and other private gifts and grants that our campuses received. The transfer activity, this declined $17 million from last October, and it's because last October Nashville State had made a couple large transfers, $14 million for their North Davidson campus and $5 million for renovations on their main campus. The next slide just provides a summary of beginning balances, where we were at the beginning of this process and where we are at the end is $135 million, declined $26 million, but that's not uncommon. Again, that's because of the transfers that our campuses have made to the plant funds. Generally, they will do this in October, and it relates to the carryover funds that they're bringing forward. Revenue and expenses basically are to break even. The next slide shows you a list of the authorized positions, 6,743 positions across our system. And then the final slide, or next to final slide, provides the the information that you'll be taking action on. This is just a summary of the October budget. Again, total expenditures and transfers of $1,137,000,000 and 6,743 positions. And again, this is what you'll be taking action on. The last item, we have to consider university budgets. As you recall, under the Focus Act, we're required to consider the LGI budgets, and that consideration is limited to those matters that are necessary to fulfill existing debt covenants, representations, agreements, and obligations under the financing agreements entered into with the Tennessee State School Bond Authority. To that end, university budgets have been received and reviewed in accordance with TBR policy, and they've been determined to meet debt service coverage requirements and found to be mathematically correct and internally consistent, and that they have provided the appropriate compliance certifications and representations. And with that, Madam Chairman, the university budgets are recommended for approval as being in compliance with the above TBR policy. Additionally, staff recommends approval of the 18-19 October revised budget for the Tennessee Board of Regents system as presented.
Excellent. Thank you, Danny. Any questions?
Locally governed institutions.
Our 6 universities, yeah. Hearing no questions, we need a motion to approve this revised budget. Thank you, Regent Duckett. Regent Prescott, a second. Thank you very much. Any discussion? And because this does involve our finances and that of the universities, we will need a roll call vote. Sandra?
Regent Apple?
Aye.
Regent Burdine?
Aye.
Regent Duckett?
Aye.
Regent Green?
Aye.
Regent Griscom?
Aye.
Regent Hatch?
Aye.
Regent Prescott?
Aye.
Vice Chair Reynolds?
Aye.
Regent Roman?
Aye.
Regent Shockey?
Aye.
Regent Summons? Commissioner Templeton? Regent Varlin? Regent White?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Well done. Once again, Vice Chancellor Gibbs, we know there's been a lot of work and not too many days on all of this, so thank you. So we very much appreciate it. Vice Chancellor Schulte, while you're up, if it's okay with you, I know we've got 2 back-to-back, and then we've got you on a new policy on articulation a little further down. Could you just do all 3 at this time? That'd be great.
3's a charm.
Thank you, indeed. Thank you, sir.
And I want the record to show that I was on deck and ready to go as soon as the plate was full. We have 5 proposals for the TCATs for your consideration today. The first is the implementation of a mental health technician program at TCAT Chattanooga. The second and third are from TCAT Crump, the implementation of the farming operations technology program that we referenced earlier with Commissioner Templeton's support, and also the implementation of a health information management technology hybrid program that will serve both adult students and dual enrollment students. And then the last 2 programs that are for your consideration are from the TCAT at Jacksboro in cooperation with the Jellicoe High School. One is an administrative office technology program, the second a welding program, and again the focus on these programs is with the high school students for dual enrollment. So these programs have been capably and ably presented to the system office by the presidents and their staffs of these institutions. They've been thoroughly reviewed and we recommend them for approval by the board.
Commissioner Templeton, would you like to move approval? Excellent. Thank you, sir. A second? Thank you, Regent Summons. So any discussion or questions for Randy at this point? Hearing none, this is also a voice vote. All in favor of the approval of these new programs for our TCATs, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Well done. And
Thank
now
you.
we have some at our community, one at our community colleges.
We actually have 1 new degree program. Programs that are new to the system come to the board formally, and this is the first of the Chemical Engineering Technology, AAS, degree programs in the TBR system. I have just a few comments about this, and especially to acknowledge the full and complete work that Roane State Community College did in preparing this proposal, and especially in the way that two groups of constituents were really brought into this process, one being the employers, including representatives of the Y-12 network in Oak Ridge, and also other manufacturers. They also consulted with Chattanooga State Community College that has a technical certificate in chemical engineering technology, and have worked out a cooperative relationship to use the Vacher Institute facilities at Chattanooga State as part of the training. So I think this is again just representative of how well we are working together and collaborating and cooperating as we move forward this program. So this program is a relatively low-cost program, given that we have many of the facilities and equipments already in place, the staff and faculty in place to grow this program, and a very high demand for this position. Completion of this program will result in job opportunities that start in the $60,000 and up range. So with all that being said, the Academic Affairs recommends the approval of this program.
Questions, comments, Regent Griscom?
I just want to, having been here for 8 years now, as I said earlier, it is so great, Randy, to hear that conversation about Roane State work with Chattanooga State, getting all of our partners together. We've all, and everybody in this audience, all of our presidents worked hard to get here. It is so great to hear that we're figuring that out. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you to everybody who's involved in it.
Well said.
Thank you. Thank you.
If there's no other discussion, this also requires a voice vote for approval. I need a motion. Regent Prescott, thank you. Second from Regent Griscom. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And there's one more on articulation.
That's correct. So on your agenda, that's new business, item H. The articulation and transfer policy is brought to your attention for two main reasons. One, in the process that we are going through, as you're well aware, under the guidance of General Counsel Moody, to review and revise our policies and guidelines, to eliminate guidelines and make them policies or incorporate them into existing policies. Articulation and transfer had 4 iterations in policy and guidelines. We have worked with our campuses, with our student affairs, our academic affairs, our faculty sub-councils to congeal those into one articulation and transfer policy. And the other element of this policy, other than just bringing together those 4 extant policies and guidelines, is the incorporation of the relatively new process that we have for statewide articulation between the TCAT and the community colleges. So as Commissioner Griscom suggests, that examples of cooperation are abounding in the TBR, and this is one of the areas that is really exciting, that we continue in this policy and as practice to have institution-to-institution articulations, program-by-program articulations, but now we have moved to the level of having statewide articulations in programs that have commonality across the TCAT and the community colleges. So those are the key points of this articulation and transfer policy, and we recommend for approval.
Thank you, sir. I know that's a lot of work and a lot of granularity, but it's a good project to get done. So any questions for Mr. Schulte on this one? If not, we need a motion to approve. Thank you, Regent Barlin. A second?
Second.
Regent Burdine, thank you very much. Any discussion? If not, we will take a voice vote on this new policy with regard to articulation and transfers. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.
And good work on all of these new programs. It's very exciting. President Whaley, thank you. Russ Deaton. And we just heard a little bit about this from the governor, our new degree targets for the TCATs.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Vice Chair Reynolds. This is the second verse of a familiar hymn. You would have remembered last time we talked about community college degree targets. This is the TCAT degree target, both of which are a function of the statewide master plan as embodied in THEC's master plan for Drive at 55. Before you today is a recommendation to essentially affirm the existing degree target for the TCAT sector. We are on track to meet that, we think, over the next 7 years by the 2025 target date. This simply affirms that sector target and also puts some by-campus numbers on the page as well. This has been thoroughly vetted with the THEC staff and the governor's office staff, and we recommend it to you for approval.
Regent Griscom moves approval. Do we have a second? Regent Apple, thank you very much. Any discussion? Well done. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Russ, very much. Mary Moody, I think you have 3 items for us today.
Yes. The first is for you to review and consider approving a regular rule on public records requests. In 2016, the General Assembly passed a statute that required all state agencies to adopt policies on public records requests and directed that the Ombudsman on Public Records issue a model policy. And we last year adopted that model policy, and then last year during the General Assembly they revised that statute to require everybody to have rules rather than policies. So what we're doing with this is promulgating a rule that says exactly what our policy that you approved last year says. And I recommend that you approve the rule.
Thank you. Any questions for our general counsel? If not, we need a motion to approve. Thank you, Regent Prescott. A second. Thank you, Regent Duckett. Any further discussion? And because we are promulgating a rule, this will require a roll call vote, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sandra, thank you.
Regent Apple?
Aye.
Regent Burdine?
Aye.
Regent Duckett?
Aye.
Regent Green?
Aye.
Regent Griscom?
Aye.
Regent Hatch?
Aye.
Regent Prescott?
Aye.
Vice Chair Reynolds?
Aye.
Regent Roman?
Aye.
Regent Shockey?
Aye.
Regent Summons?
Aye.
Commissioner Templeton? Regent Varlin?
Yes.
Regent White?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mary, we're back to you for some additional policy changes.
Yes, current TBR policy 10211 addresses both the procedures for appeals to the chancellor and board by students or employees and procedures for requesting permission to address the board. As part of the ongoing review of TBR policies, the following revisions to this policy are recommended. First, the existing policy is revised to address only appeals to the chancellor and the board. Minor changes have been made to the language to clarify the appeals process. And second, a new policy 10212 requests to address the board will set forth the process to be followed by students, employees, or third parties who would like to address the board on matters germane to the responsibilities of the board. Staff recommends approval of both policies.
Thank you. Any questions for Mary on this? Some of this has been in discussion for some time.
Yes, the portion of the old policy that talked about requests to appear before the board didn't have much detail in it, and the new policy has a specific process to be followed, which will eliminate any complaints that a particular person's request to address the board was handled differently than someone else's might have been. It just gives us a standard procedure to follow, which protects us.
Excellent. Thank you. If there is no discussion, we will need a motion to approve. Regent Apple, thank you. A second. Regent White, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of these revisions and the new policy, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And finally, once again from Mary, some new athletic policies, which apparently we did not have in place before.
Well, the only thing that was in policy or guideline with regard to intercollegiate athletics was a finance guideline about managing the operations of intercollegiate athletics. And so while community colleges have participated in intercollegiate athletics for many years, TBR policies and guidelines have not addressed the subject except for a single guideline pertaining to finances. The following new policies formally authorize community colleges to participate in intercollegiate athletics and establish a structure for participation. One will be 801, participation in intercollegiate athletics, which authorizes the participation as part of the National Junior College Athletic Association. And then 802 establishes the President's Athletics Council, which will be made up of all the presidents of community colleges participating in intercollegiate athletics, and they will govern the conference, and which is the Tennessee Community College Athletic Association, which is also created by these policies. And then 803 is what was previously the guideline, the finance guideline. We're moving it into the policies so that all policies pertaining to athletics will be in this new Section 8, which is just athletics policies. We recommend approval of the policies.
All of which sounds like a step in the right direction. So,
And these policies have all been vetted with the presidents that participate in community college athletics. We've had a number of meetings, and they've got their council, and then there's a working group that's made up of some of the presidents and athletic directors at all the schools that participate in athletics. And what they will be doing is working on bylaws for this president's council and the Tennessee Community College Athletic Association, and then policies and procedures for to govern athletics.
yes, sir. Question.
Mary, as we're putting this together, you've talked to the presidents, do we feel like this is getting us close to addressing the issues that have been coming up to us over the last couple of years in this area? I mean, is that
That's the intention of these policies, and the presidents have really, I think, come together well to work on these issues, and they've done a lot of work on identifying issues that they want to see addressed, and they will be doing that work over the next year as they adopt policies and procedures to address those issues.
Thank you.
Good question. We need a motion to approve. Thank you, Regent Prescott. A second. Regent Green, thank you very much. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And our final new policy for today is with regard to animals on campus. Talk to us, Dr. Lemon.
Correct. Madam Chair, members of the board, before you is a new policy that will outline the parameters by which animals are allowed on campus and at the TBR system office, either as service animals or for special events. And this will include how inquiries and exceptions are to be handled. If there's not any questions, I recommend to the board approval of the policy.
And do we address, there was a lady there was a news story who had a service rat with her, and the airline would not let her bring it. I mean, she really did. I mean, the story was incredible. It was not fake news. So I guess we're defining what we mean by animals too, correct?
Correct. So
Okay.
service animals as defined under ADA.
I think we're all getting a little punchy. I know, I hear you. I hear you.
That does not.
Do we have a motion to approve our new policy regarding animals on campus? Thank you, Regent White. A second, Regent Varlin. Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Lemming. That's right. Exactly. So we now reach a point, again, we're back to the bittersweet once again, as we acknowledge the service of some people who have been very important to our Board of Regents system. And we will begin with our resolution of appreciation for President Tony Creasy from Pulaski. Regent Apple, would you do the honors?
I will. Thank you very much. This is a resolution of appreciation for the service of Mr. Tony Creasy to the Tennessee Board of Regents. Whereas Mr. Tony Creasy is a native of Pulaski, Tennessee, graduating from Giles County High School in 1977. He graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Tennessee at Knoxville in 1982 and received his Master's of Education degree in Educational Leadership from the University of Cincinnati in 2009. And whereas he's been employed at the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, Pulaski, for 33 years. He served as the Director of Student Services and Guidance Counselor from 1985 to 2004, Assistant Director from 2004 to 2012, Interim Director from July 2012 to September 2012, and the Director President from 2012 to 2018. And whereas he has served in numerous leadership roles with the Tennessee Board of Regents, including serving as chair of the TCAT Residential/Commercial Wiring and Plumbing and the Electrical, Plumbing, and Construction Technology Curriculum Committees. And whereas he served on the National Healthcare Advisory Board in Giles County, the secondary CTE advisory committees in Giles, Lawrence, and Marshall counties, and Giles County Workforce Development Committee, and the South Central Tennessee Workforce Board. Whereas he has been a longtime member of the East Hill Church of Christ, serving as a Sunday school teacher and deacon for many years. Has been a longtime advocate of youth sports programs in Pulaski, serving as coach of girls minor, little league, and senior league softball teams, and sponsoring a local TCAT team for many years, and has served as a Tennessee Promise mentor. And whereas his leadership was key to partnering with several public and private entities in 2014-15 to obtain $970,000 in funding from the Labor and Education Alignment Program, or LEAP, that benefited 7 counties, with TCAT Pulaski serving as a fiscal agent. Applying for and receiving $49,000 Perkins Basic Grant in 2014-15 for the Computer Operating Systems and Networking Technology Program. A Perkins Basic Rollover Grant of $90,260 to expand allied health programs, including a new practical nursing evening program. A Perkins Reserve Grant in the amount of $55,931 in 2014-15 to establish a certified production technician program, and a $3.1 million Drive to 55 Project Capacity Fund Grant in 2016 to expand the TCAT Pulaski campus. And whereas he started several new programs during his tenure, including welding, pharmacy technician, HVAC, industrial maintenance, and patient care technology/medical assisting programs, he also expanded dual enrollment offerings to 6 counties involving 11 high schools, established the first dual enrollment phlebotomy program in Tennessee, and initiated the TCAT Pulaski Employee of the Year recognition program. And whereas he shall be missed by colleagues, faculty, staff, students, community leaders, and alumni of the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, Pulaski. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents expresses its sincere appreciation to Mr. Tony Creasy for his outstanding contributions and leadership to the system, and wishes the very best to him in his retirement.
Are you offering the resolution as
I
a motion
do.
to
Yes,
approve?
ma'am.
Thank you, Regent Apple. Well done. We need a second. Thank you, Regent Green. So any discussion? Hearing none, our resolution of appreciation for Tony Creasy requires a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. President Creasy, make your way up here for the moment, and I'm going to call on the Chancellor as you come forward.
Thank you, Vice Chairman.
Thank you so much.
Hold 1 second for me, if you don't mind.
I just want to take a moment and talk about President Creasy and what a tremendous job he has done on his campus. I had the opportunity to spend a day with Tony just a few weeks ago, and the warmth and the family feeling on his campus is real. people love and appreciate his guidance and his leadership, and he is going to be truly missed.
So much.
Oh, that's sweet. But you're not leaving Giles County.
Not leaving Giles County. You know, I want to thank you for the kind words and for the recognition. You know, I was born and raised in Pulaski. And I have to be honest, it never really crossed my mind that I would work at the school across town. Which if you live in Pulaski, across town is not very far. But in 1985, Mr. Henry Sims, and some of you remember that name, some of you may not, but he hired me to work as a guidance counselor, and I was so excited. It was such a great opportunity. And little did I know that I would spend 33 and a half years on the campus of TCAP Pulaski. I was so blessed. I'm so thankful and appreciative for the opportunity. I've worked with some great people, some wonderful people that were so conscientious and so mindful of our students. And you know, that's what we're all about. The center of what we do has to be our students. So I'm so thankful for that, and I'm thankful to the board and for Dr. Tidings for allowing me to serve as the president. It's been a long journey, but it's been a great journey. Perfect fit for me. I have just thoroughly enjoyed my time at TCAP Pulaski, and I'll have to say that it's been a decision that's been very difficult. Mixed emotions. You know, retirement is a time to celebrate and be happy, but there's a hint of sadness there that you will miss the people and the mission that you were called to do. So I'm so excited for that. But I do thank the board for always supporting and encouraging us down at the grassroots level, and it's been a great experience for me. So many memories, I tell you, and so many people. I could call out names of folks who have really helped me along the way. But thank you all for the board for all that you have done and continue to do to make our schools successful. And I want to say that, you know, I often tell my staff and faculty, we are in the life-changing business. And when people walk in our door, it's almost like they have a sign on their neck, will you help me? Because they are depending on us. They're looking for us to deliver what they need. They're counting on us to do the things that will make their future brighter. And I will tell you, we have some great folks working to be sure that happens. And I'm so proud of my colleagues, and I'm so proud of the board. You know, Tennessee has a lot to be proud of. Higher education it's an exciting time to be in higher education. And I tell you, there are a lot of great things going on and a lot of great things that are yet to come. And I will be watching from afar, but I'm so proud of the good things we're doing in Tennessee to help our citizens improve their lives and to have a better future. We're all about success. You know, that's the way I see it. And every decision we make should be based on the success of our students. That's the way I see it. So thank you for allowing me to serve as president. And I want to thank my colleagues behind me for all the hard work they do each and every day. You know, down at the grassroots level, it's a challenge. Some days I go home scratching my head, almost pulling my hair, and saying I could have done better. You know, our students are counting on us. So I'm so proud of our colleagues and what they do. I'm so proud of you all at the central office and the great support you give us each and every day. It makes all the difference. You know, as I think about the TCAT system, you know, 33 years, I used to think that's a long time, but it just seemed to go by so fast. I came to the school in '85. I was 25 years old. My hair was brown and my mustache was brown. But 33 years passed very quickly. And I watched our system evolve. Our system changed so much from when I started in '85. And I think about all the good things that has happened to our TCAT system. There's a person I want to mention, and I think that was very much the changing point for us, and that's James King. I'll be honest with you. When he became our Vice Chancellor, we turned the corner. And not only were we recognized and respected statewide, we were also recognized on a national basis. So we have a debt to pay to him, Mr. James King, for all the good work, his outstanding leadership that led us to the promised land, I say sometimes. So, but I also thank the board, Dr. Tidings, for all of your good work. And I know there are a lot of good things in the future. And I surely wish the system and all of you great success, and I will be watching. It's hard to let go, I would be the first to say, but I know we have a lot of talented people in place that will take us to the next level. So thank you so much for taking time to recognize me, and best wishes for a continued success, and Merry Christmas to each of you. Okay.
You have indeed changed many lives, President Creasy, over those 33 years, and we are in your debt for your service to TBR. Thank you for being such an outstanding leader. And don't forget where that school across town is, because we know how to find you too. Thank you, sir. That was beautifully said. President Beverly is not with us today, but I would like to call on Regent Prescott to read the resolution on her behalf, and hopefully she's watching back in Whiteville this afternoon.
Honored to do so. Whereas Miss Carolyn Beverly is a native of Humboldt, Tennessee, and graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Education from Tennessee State University and received her master's degree in Public Administration from Tennessee State University and University of Tennessee Joint Universities program. She has also earned additional graduate hours from the University of Memphis. And whereas she was employed at Tennessee College of Applied Technology, Whiteville, as the Office Occupations Instructor from 1988 to 1994 and the Computer Operations Technology Instructor from 1994 to 1996. She left the TBR system in 1996 and joined Methodist Healthcare of Memphis, serving as an Information Systems Analyst and SAP Education Coordinator. In 2005, she returned to TCAT Whiteville as the Assistant Director and was appointed Director in September 2011 and now carries the title of President. And whereas she has served in numerous leadership roles within the Tennessee Board of Regents system, including the TBR Academic Leadership Academy, Tennessee Technology Center's Leadership Academy, and the Maxine Smith Fellows Class of 2006, and the TCAT's President Executive Sub-Council from 2012 to 2014. And she also served as chair of the TCAT Statewide Welding Curriculum Committee. And whereas during her tenure, she has been actively involved in community service initiatives. She served as the Missions Ministry President of New St. Luke Missionary Baptist Church in Jackson, Tennessee. She was instrumental in getting the church certified as a Red Cross shelter for evacuees during disaster. During her leadership, the church was able to house 137 individuals from the Hurricane Katrina disaster. She also implemented the Room in the Inn shelter program for the homeless. And whereas she served as a member of the industrial boards of Haywood, Fayette, and Hardeman counties, she served 2 terms as the Region 3 Director for Tennessee Business and Professional Women's, Inc. She is a member of the Bolivar Rotary Club, where she is a Paul Harris Fellow, and serves as a board member of the Hardeman County Chamber of Commerce. President Beverly is also a member of the Jackson Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc., and an organization dedicated to the service of others. In 2013, she was the recipient of the Sterling Award, an annual award issued by the Jackson Area Business and Professional Women and the Jackson Sun newspaper, recognizing the most influential women in West Tennessee. Whereas she will be missed by colleagues, faculty, staff, students, and alumni of the Tennessee College of Applied Technology Whiteville, as well as community leaders in the region. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents expresses its sincere appreciation to Ms. Carolyn Beverly for her outstanding contributions and leadership to the system and wishes the very best in her retirement. Madam Vice Chair, I offer this resolution as a motion to be accepted by the board.
Thank you very much, Regent Prescott. We need a second. Thank you, Regent Green. Any discussion? Hearing none, we will act on the resolution of appreciation for President Beverly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And again, we hope you're watching, Carolyn. We will miss seeing your smiling face. She was such a big heart and such a wonderful individual, and all the best. While we've just honored our two presidents who are retiring, they have new exciting chapters coming in their lives. And while it's a loss for our system, we've experienced other losses as well that are certainly heartfelt. One occurred in Athens, Tennessee, with the tragic death of our nursing student, Kayla Renee Goldman, a few weeks ago. And sadly, she was driving with her two nieces in the car who lost their lives as well. President Smith, please convey our continued thoughts and prayers to her family. I know that was a loss for your campus, and we appreciate your leadership at that difficult time. And second of all, we lost a giant, didn't we, President Smith, in Williamson County, and that's the Honorable Charles Sargent, Jr., who served so well in our state legislature. And with that, I'd like to call on Regent Hatch to read the resolution on behalf of Representative Sargent.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, and I'm honored to do so. And so this is a resolution in memoriam of the Honorable Charles M. Sargent, Jr. Whereas the Honorable Charles M. Sargent, Jr. was known as a champion for education, state budget mastermind, and supporter of preservation, and whereas Mr. Sargent, a U.S. Navy veteran, was a civic-minded businessman who won election to the Tennessee House of Representatives in 1996 and was reelected 10 times, representing Williamson County's House District 61 for 22 years through 2018, holding various positions on House committees and subcommittees. In 2010, he was appointed chair of the Finance, Ways and Means Committee by Speaker Beth Harwell, and as chair, played a major role in shaping the budget of the state of Tennessee for much of the last decade. Most on Capitol Hill referred to him simply as Mr. Chairman, and was known for his wisdom, kindness, humor, bipartisanship, and measured and ethical decision-making. And whereas he was a strong advocate for and ally to public education in Williamson County and throughout the state of Tennessee, believing that a strong foundation in education is key to a bright and prosperous future. And whereas under Chairman Sargent's guardianship and wise stewardship of Tennessee's tax dollars, the state balanced its budget, maintained a budget surplus, increased the rainy day fund, and secured a AAA bond rating, all while fully funding the basic education program for K-12, increased teacher compensation, and increased funding for higher education and college student assistance. And whereas Representative Sargent was a true champion for the entire Tennessee Board of Regents system and Columbia State Community College, who selflessly dedicated countless hours and unmatched effort, personally and professionally, to Columbia State's expansion and new campus in Williamson County, where the Charles M. Sargent Humanities Building is named in his honor. And whereas he was a lifelong public servant, admirably and passionately serving roles as a founder of the Grassland Athletic Association for Youth Sports, president of the Grassland Parent and Teacher Organization, board member of the Cottonwood Homeowners Association Board, and member of both the Williamson County Planning Commission and the Williamson County Commission prior to his election to the General Assembly, where he served until passing. And whereas he was a dedicated and loyal friend and neighbor, a knowledgeable and committed businessman and statesman, and a loving husband to his wife of 41 years, and whereas Representative Sargent had a profound and unforgettable impact on Columbia State Community College, Williamson County, the Tennessee Board of Regents, and the state of Tennessee as a whole. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents recognizes and is forever grateful to the Honorable Charles M. Sargent, Jr. for his tireless commitment to improving the lives of Tennesseans and to his instrumental partnership in expanding educational opportunities, and expresses its sincere regret at his passing on November the 13th, 2018, and extends to his family and community its deepest sympathy. Madam Vice Chair, I submit this resolution as a motion for approval.
Thank you, sir. We need a second, please.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Regent Prescott. Any discussion? All in favor of that wonderful resolution honoring, oh, I'm sorry, Regent Burdine, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just saw your mic turn on, sorry. All in favor of a wonderful resolution to honor the life of Charles Sargent, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And we will present this resolution to Nancy Sargent, his wife and partner in so many things, when President Smith hosts her legislative breakfast at Columbia State toward the end of January. So thank you for taking that to her, and please give her our best. She is in our thoughts. Chancellor Tidings, any announcements?
Just again to say to the board, thank you for a great year of support that you have given to this system, to this office, to all of the individuals that are working at our colleges, to our presidents. Thank you for a great year. You've worked hard. You've made tremendous impacts on the lives of students, and you've changed lives all across the state of Tennessee. To the staff at the board office, I know you could not have worked any harder. We will continue to work harder next year as we go into all of the goals that we have set for ourselves as we look forward. But I hope that everyone enjoys their holiday season. I thank you for sitting through a long but extremely important board meeting today. So thank you, Madam Chair, and we look forward to a new year.
Thank you. Thank you all. And once again, to our governor for joining us today and giving us the chance to honor him and name that fabulous facility that we wouldn't have without him, and our General Assembly in Smyrna after him. So we'll look fondly on that for years to come. As he admonished us, we have to continue to work hard and take the hill. So with that having been said, you got a couple of weeks off here for the holiday, Carlos. Okay. And Robert, right? I hope you have a great holiday as well and a little break. But to everyone, thank you all. Have a safe and happy holiday season. And we will look forward to seeing you in the new year and our exciting SOAR event in March and our board meeting once again back here in Nashville. Thank you all. Well done. We are adjourned.
Board members know to go to lunch.